Okay, good afternoon. It is March 14th. This is Debbie Davis. Okay, so they're messing with my phone all the time. I don't know, it just keeps getting full and I have to clean it out. Okay, so I touched on some things, but Julie Green is also confirming many things. So if you haven't watched her videos, Julie Green has been around for a long time and she's been very accurate for years. Her Julie Green Ministry. Okay, but talking about the issues with the northern border. Okay, so we have, and that is one of the reasons why I've had such issues here, is because I believe it goes way higher than what people ever realized. The issues going on in South and North Dakota, and I'm getting more confirmation of that each day, of things I'm learning here from the locals. Okay, but the last thing I was talking about was these issues with regarding the military, how we are questioning, and that issue I brought up with the Marine, questioning why we're going to, what are these wars actually about? They're very confusing on a military side. Okay, it's like, yeah, we understand that it was a bad leader. This guy was a bad leader, and El Mencho is a bad guy too. But like, you take out a bad leader, but yet we're going in and we're killing innocent people in Iran. Okay, that part doesn't make sense. And then you're talking about getting another bad leader put back in. Okay, this is what Scott Ritter was talking about. It's like, oh, okay, we take this one bad guy out, but now we're planning on getting another bad leader in. Okay, these are, yeah, of course, I understand these were bad regimes, but there's on another side, we don't understand altogether what is going on. And on top of it, we're not told where this guy, the head of Venezuela, is now exactly. And El Mencho. Okay, are they in Gitmo now, or are they in some CIA underground base somewhere? Okay, I mean, nobody said exactly where these people are being taken. We took out these leaders. Where are they exactly? I mean, I would question that as military. Exactly, show us where these leaders are. Exactly, what are you doing? I don't trust Pete Hegseth. I don't trust J.D. Vance. Julie Green is also talking about recently about things coming out about J.D. Vance, that will start coming out. And this guy just came out of nowhere. Anybody that comes out of nowhere and we don't know anything about their background, clearly he was put in by somebody. And, he's got these ties to this Peter Thiel guy. Okay, so, she was saying that things are going to start coming out about him, his true colors. And so yeah, I mean, there's things that don't make sense about the reasons behind why our government is doing these things, okay? And that's what we're questioning. I think we have every right to question these things. And are these, because it reminds me of what the CIA did in Libya years ago, how they went and they took out, I think Gaddafi it was, but they were the reason why the embassy was attacked is, and there was a movie about it called 13 Hours, is because the country found out that we were in there trying to literally take over natural resources. I think Gaddafi was trying to go back to the gold standard and do good things for his people, and then that's why the embassy was attacked by their own people there, because they found out we were in there for nefarious reasons, not us, but the CIA. Okay, so how do we know that these are not just takeovers of this country, of these countries? How do we know these are not CIA takeovers, infiltrations by our own CIA? Our own CIA is the most dangerous agency in the world. I've been saying this for years. These are the people that have been after me as a whistleblower, for years. So and these are reasons why Snowden went into Russia. This is why when he exposed the NSA as a government contractor, this is why he hid in Russia, because Russia has things put in place. They are fully aware of how dangerous our own intelligence agencies are. Okay, they use a combination of federal laws and regulations to protect themselves because they know how dangerous these agencies are. They have, let's see, they have a broad evolving framework of laws and statutes specifically designed to counter, criminalize, neutralize activities of foreign intelligence agencies, mostly are regarding espionage type purposes. Okay, that is the reason why Snowden picked he got asylum there after he exposed the NSA here. How the NSA was spying on their own people instead of going after terrorists, looking for terrorists, you know. So I don't know where Snowden is now. I haven't heard from him in a long time. Hopefully he's still okay. I don't know, you know. But and then also, okay, like this is the other thing that doesn't make sense to me is that now our oil prices are going up. I'm sorry, isn't that one of the reasons, one of the things they said that they were going to get more oil in Venezuela? We would have more access to oil reserves in Venezuela. That was one of the things they talked about. They said Hegseth is in control now of the oil reserves in Venezuela, and they're going to start processing it through Texas. Okay, this was talked about on a video. Okay, so I'm sorry, Hegseth, why is our oil prices going up now if you have more access to oil? Okay, I would question that. I would question him about that. Okay, what is going on there? Okay, that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, you know, there's some things that are above our level, and that, you know, we need God's help with, and then there's some things that we can try to question and try to do as best as we can to hold our own government accountable. And I think we know now that we've learned that we can't trust the Masons, you know, and they've infiltrated our police. We can't trust the CIA, we can't trust the Masons, and we know now they've infiltrated a lot of the police and the sheriffs. Okay, so there are things that we can try to do to counteract that, and you know, just try to make sure that these people, if you know they're in a secret society, just try to make sure they never get involved in any kind of position of power. Again, these are things we can try to do. You know, that's one of the problems the main problem we're having here in South Dakota. They all seem to be connected. Okay, let's just say that. Okay, and you know, and the issue that I just had with the sheriff, when I still have this issue. They're trying to say I was disorderly or whatever. In the paperwork he had me sign, he made me write down my social security number. Okay. Now I'm hearing all these stories, like these people are well known for stealing people's properties. Okay. And they do it in really nefarious ways. And I've talked about this in other videos. Laura Hubble told me about issues there was some ladies who owned a mining, some land near the Black Hills that was very, apparently had a lot of minerals. Basically it was stolen from them for pennies on the dollar. The state is known to do this, and we believe that's what happened with this one guy's property who died right in this town, because it went into state probate. Somehow mysteriously his will disappeared out of the house, and all of his keys to his vehicle. Okay, his vehicles. I'm sorry, why weren't they burned in the fire? You know, those things were missing the next morning when we went in there as neighbors. His keys, where he had all of his key rings for his vehicles, was missing, and his safe. They were kept in a certain room. I knew Jimmy personally. Okay, and then all of his stuff went into state probate, and they made money off of these things. Well, okay, in a normal fire like that, a safe and the key rings and stuff like that would have burned in the fire. So how did they get access to these things? Okay, these are very questionable tactics going on here, and I feel very disturbed by the level of corruption that has been allowed to happen in this particular county with this particular sheriff. And then he made me write down my social security number. I believe he has full intentions on trying to steal my property somehow. This is my own opinion, And yeah, because he's done it to other people. Okay, so I think we have to just be really, really a lot more careful with the access that we allow our police to have. Okay, with all of this, I've proven for years now they've been illegally surveilling me without a warrant. We have to, start bringing down their levels of illegal surveillance, because they have proven that they abuse them. We have to try to make sure they don't get in positions of power as best as we can. They've also been known to, I've heard this directly from people, okay, that know the police personally. Like, they have taken copies of people's keys, okay, in jail. Like, if you get pulled over for a small charge, you end up in jail. A lot of times they have taken copies of people's keys, house keys. And then a lot of times, there's been a lot of times where there's been thefts of the house after that. Okay, these are personal stories that I've heard from personal people. Try to make sure that they do not have any access to your keys or your social security number. Okay, things like that. We have to be a lot more careful of what we allow these people that we thought were law enforcement. We have to be a lot more careful with what they have access to. Because now we pretty much have evidence, they pretty much have the crest and everything right on their badges now that they're Masons, So you can't have an oath to a secret society plus have an oath as a public servant. Those are two different oaths. It's one or the other. Because when you have an oath to a Mason, that means your priority is to the Masons, not to as a public servant. It's a totally different oath when you take an oath as a public servant to protect and serve. Okay, those are two different oaths, and their Masonic oath supersedes that other oath, and it just doesn't work. It's pretty obvious it doesn't work. Okay, so, and if you know them personally, if you have these people in your family members, I mean, these are not charitable organizations. These people they've been impersonating, like they're Templars and they're good people and they're charity organizations, but we know now it's pretty much a satanic cult. It is a satanic cult, and they've been infiltrating the United States for like 60 years. This British, it started in Britain, and they've been infiltrating our country, and it has nothing to do with the Templars. Nothing. The Templars were illegally killed on a fraudulent basis in 1307, Friday the 13th, 1307. And 400 years later, the Masons started appearing, and they tried to act like they were associated with the Templars, and they are not. It is basically just a scam and a con. Okay, and regarding cons, I want to personally, express my opinion about this Juan O'Savin guy. Okay, I believe this guy is 100% a con. Okay, anybody that doesn't show their face, and we have, just like JD Vance, he came out of nowhere. Nobody knows his history. Nobody knows where he came from. He doesn't explain where he came from. He doesn't explain how he knows all this stuff. Okay, and he's held to some kind of high esteem for some reason. I'm sorry. You don't show your face. I mean, it's just, people call him like boot boy. Like, who is this boot boy? It's like, and then one time when he was on David Nino, I did, since he doesn't show his face, I did see the ring that he was wearing one time, and I looked it up, and it was a Masonic ring. Okay, so he was wearing a Masonic ring. Okay, he doesn't show his face. Okay, this person I don't feel can be trusted. I know years ago he started making his appearance on the Field McConnell show. Okay, Field McConnell, basically is one of these guys that just, he got arrested by the first Trump administration or something. He's in jail or something now. It turned out basically that he was a con. And I feel like this Juan O'Savin is just nothing more than just a con. Okay, and the other thing you can call him, relate him to, is something called a mead, M-E-E-D or M-E-A-D. Okay, and this goes way back to Babylonian times, where they had these people come out, And basically they were just used to like tell stories or put out a narrative or a psyop to just appease the people. Okay, this guy is so long-winded. He could talk for hours, and it's just like, and when you look back at what he says nothing of value, really. It's just talk and talk and talk. Okay, and to me, he's nothing but just a psyop to buy the deep state some time. And it's just like he's a Mede. That's where the whole word media comes from. It comes from these people who are Medes. We're Medes. It goes way back to the Babylonian days. Okay, to me, he is nothing but a Mede. I would not listen to this guy at all. I believe he obviously has ties all the way up, but I don't believe they're any kind of good ties. I believe they're 100% nefarious. I believe he's associated with the Octagon groups. Okay. I mean, they can only put one over on us if we let them put over on us. If we're not wise to their games, their tactics. And so I'm just trying to get people to wise up. I mean, this guy has never told anybody who he is or shown his face, but yet we still listen to what this guy says and, act like he has some kind of a power over us in some way or something. I just wouldn't let him. I wouldn't let him. I wouldn't listen to him at all. Just don't give him any bit of your time. And same thing with this this guy who's acting like General Flynn. Okay, just look at the picture of the old General Flynn, and he had more wrinkles. It was more a distinguished face. This guy has a rounder face. And he doesn't look, it's not at all the same person. Okay? They're putting one over on you. This is not the same person. Just look at the original pictures of the original Michael Flynn, and then look at this guy who's trying to act like Michael Flynn. They are not the same person. Anybody with any kind of eyes to see can see it. Okay? It's just to me, I just don't understand why people are still falling for these things. And okay, so I know personally what happened with the real Michael Flynn. Okay. He was originally working with the first Trump administration, and he did know a lot. Of course he knew a lot. Okay. As they said, things like he knew where the bodies were buried, and he was working with the White Hats, I guess. Okay. And apparently what happened, my understanding, is that he flipped out on him. And because I think a lot of these people are on some kind of mind control, or they have chips, they're chipped and things like that. When you're high level, like anything, when you're in the officer side, it's like, a lot of them are compromised in some way on a higher level in our country. And we know this now. That's why a lot of times we've learned that the lower ranking people are way more trustworthy because they're not compromised. And we've learned this in our military here. Okay. But on the higher levels, so apparently what happened, in my understanding, is what I heard, is that he flipped out. And this was talked about at the time, when this was going on. It was talked about on some channels, and he flipped out on them and turned on him or something. And then I heard that they ended up having to bring him to jail somewhere or something. And then he was never seen again. And then all of a sudden this guy shows up pretending like he's him. Okay, this is what I heard personally, what happened with the real Michael Flynn. Okay, so I'm just going to tell that story. Like I said, you keep falling for this stuff. They'll keep putting these things out if you keep falling for it. Okay, but yeah, like I said, I mean, we have to be really careful with these Masons. Okay, and so I was talking to Alice Dark the other day. And so thank God she's still alive, because I couldn't get a hold of her for we couldn't communicate. They're playing games with both of our phones. Okay. I have had a very hard time. People getting a hold of me getting a hold of other people, it's just because of my legal surveillance all the time. And so her and we finally got in contact again, and thank God she's alive. She's still being highly targeted like myself. It's because of our bloodline. It's both of us is our bloodline, but also because we've just become whistleblowers, just because we're truthers, basically. But She was she lives in Kingwood, Texas, and but yeah, because I was really worried about her because I didn't get a hold of her for a long time. And then when I called the Kingwood Police Department, they wouldn't even do a welfare check for me or anything. You know, like they don't want us talking. But thank God she's still alive. And I was telling her about these things that happened with the Minnesota MUFON, how it's very concerning how 3 people now that, you know, were a part of these meetings are dead now. And she told me that there was a situation that she heard about regarding the MUFON too. She said that September of 2024, there was some kind of story where an executive director of MUFON was arrested, and apparently he was only sentenced 2 years at a state penitentiary. I guess he raped a minor. So that happened with one of the executive directors of MUFON as well. So yeah, we believe that the MUFON is being run by the Masons or some kind of nefarious group. I had there was another personal issue that I had with them, or one time it was like over the summer, I was involved with some kind of gardening project at just a place, a local place. It was like Roseville. It was like you could go and you could just learn a little bit of gardening. Okay, so I was doing that over a summer. Okay, there was a guy that came up to this place with this big NASA hat on, and just like watching me out gardening. Okay, and then he's like, "Who's in charge of this event?" And he was like trying to go and talk to these ladies. Like, what are you trying to say that I don't that you're not going to let me garden here? You know, it's like I wasn't. It was like a free. You could just volunteer, and they would teach you some things with gardening. There was like a landscaping thing. They do landscaping over the summer. They just volunteer their time, and you learn a little bit about gardening. It's like, what are you doing exactly, Mr. NASA? You know, coming out, at our gardening, project. It's all about power and control with these people. Like, who cares if I'm learning some gardening? Like, I mean, it's disgusting, because it's nothing about them trying to be patriotic, them trying to be, good leaders. It's all about power and control. And those aren't the type of leaders that are ever going to be good leaders, or ever going to be anybody that we ever want in power. Again, we have to try to get these type of people out of power. Okay? Oh yeah, and then somebody else told me that in Washington State, they're trying to pass something where the people don't even get to vote who the sheriffs are anymore. That they're trying to just appoint sheriffs in certain states now. So you don't even get a right to vote them in. And the sheriffs have the most power in the county. Okay? Very dangerous people. Okay? So let's see. Okay, so yeah, okay, so we have a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things that have gone on the northern border. Okay, that this border is not secure at all. Okay, it's like this border has been way more of a problem than the southern border, and nobody's talking about it. Nobody talks about it. There's literally, I think, a mafia. It is, and I believe they're associated with Khazarian mafia. I've done stories about the Khazarian mafia before. There's people, that are associated. It goes up to the Ukraine. The Khazars, are involved in the Ukraine area, and there's some of them right in our government that are associated with this Khazarian mafia. Okay, and I believe it's a huge problem in our northern border. I believe they have some kind of stronghold there. I believe they've been, I believe that is where the terrorists have been coming in, and most of them. I think the southern border has just been a distraction, and the real problem has been in the northern border. And I have been doing videos for years trying to tell people how dangerous some of these areas are. I've never seen such areas that are so dangerous, where the people literally have the whole state just, hijacked the whole entire state. The whole state of South Dakota is hijacked by these people. Okay, we can't, we tried filing this federal lawsuit, okay, and this has gone on for years, myself and neighbors, and like I said, all of us are veterans. Okay, so we've been, first of all, it was dismissed without us even knowing. We filed a federal lawsuit first, and then they filed this fake state lawsuit against myself and a couple other of us, and filed false charges on us in retaliation. Okay, and then so we recently just tried to reopen it. We got this letter back. Okay, the reason why we filed it is because of the way that the situation was handled regarding this neighbor of ours.